Now, good call, Sarah, recording. Now, before we jump in, let's take a look at what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to go over some quick introductions of 3C Ren and Recurve. We will then give an overview of the market, including budget, incentives, and payments, as well as site and project eligibility. We'll then go through a quick 5-10 minute live demo of how to submit a project. It's pretty easy. And then we'll just finalize or finish up with next steps. And if there are any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat, and we can either answer them as we go, or if we don't have time, we can save it for the end. Now, before we get into the specifics, let's chat through who we are. So for those of you who may not be familiar, 3CREN, or the Tri-County Regional Energy Network, is a partnership between the counties of San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura, established to deliver energy savings programs and industry trainings that help reduce energy use, strengthen local job markets, and support efforts to achieve climate goals. Now, who are we? Recurve. So Recurve is partner of 3CREN to implement some of these energy savings programs, including this one and the 3CREN residential family energy savings program, which some of you on the call might be familiar with as well. At Recurve, we specialize in measurement and verification software that supports performance-based energy efficiency programs like this one. Now, what is the goal of the 3CRN Commercial Energy Savings Program? It's mainly to help small to medium businesses, as well as municipal and government buildings, achieve energy savings and reduce greenhouse gas emissions across the region, as well as create bill savings for local businesses. To accomplish this, 3CREN has allocated $1.4 million for the remainder of 2024. Any unused funds after December 31st, 2024 rolls into the 2025 program year. So from now until December 31st, there is $1.4 million in incentives that folks can take advantage of when installing energy saving projects at local businesses. The incentive budget is divided into two categories, one for hard to reach projects, so on the left here, and one for market rate projects. The majority of the budget, approximately 80%, is reserved for hard to reach projects. So you can see that around $1.1 million is reserved for those hard to reach project types, with the remaining 300,000 reserved for all of the project types, or what we refer to as market rate. On our program landing page, you'll be able to track the available funds in each category in real time. So no need to do any math. We have all of that for you, tracking throughout the year. So one other thing to note, the Commercial Energy Savings Program is currently funded through 2027 at the minimum. So this program is intended to run from now through 2027. Program resets at the end of each year with a fresh budget. And any unused budget, as I mentioned, will be rolled over. Now, probably wondering a little bit more about how the market works. Before I go into these 5 steps, I want to make it very clear that this market is pay for performance. So what that means is an aggregator. So this could be a contractor like yourselves, or if you work with subcontractors, you have the contractor or subcontractor install an energy saving project at a small to small medium business or a municipal government building. That project's installed, and then we track the performance of that project against the forecasted savings that you are predicting that project will save. You then earn incentives for those for that performance of that project a year for up to a full year after the project is installed. So it is pay for performance. And you can get paid for overperformance up to 120%. Now, how does it work? Well, one, you sign up. You got to complete the flexibility purchase agreement and terms and conditions. We'll send this information along after the call. 2, we got to find some customers and some projects that would be a good fit for the program. We have eligibility tools that I'll show in a little bit where you're able to check if a project is eligible for the program. Once you have a project that you think is a good fit, you submit that proposed project for reservation in Project Hub, which is what we'll be showing in a little bit. You then install the project and submit the final paperwork, and then the project gets moved into savings tracking. You'll get 20% upfront payment, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But after that, you get performance payments for that project each quarter for a full year after the project's been installed. And I'll again go into more detail on the next few slides. But at a high level, that's the 5 steps that you need to participate. Now, how do you get paid? Let's talk a little bit more about incentives. Incentives are distributed on a first come, first served basis subject to funding availability. They're calculated using Recurve's Project Hub and the Project Value Estimator, which we'll walk you through shortly. For projects that are reserved and enter tracking, you can receive an advance payment of 20% of the forecasted incentives. Advance payments are invoiced monthly on the last day of each month. So, for example, if you have a project that has a forecasted incentive of $10,000, you can receive 2,000 of that upfront right after it's installed. So pretty good deal. Additionally, 3CRN offers an incentive multiplier for hard-to-reach projects. So this doubles the base incentives compared to market rate projects. So we really want to target those hard-to-reach projects, those small and medium to small businesses. That is the focus of this program. So how does the economics of that work? So for example, if you have a lighting retrofit project that saves, let's say, 8,000 kilowatt hours annually, you could earn around $6,000 if it was a market rate project. However, if it was hard to reach, you could receive $12,000 in incentives. So just showing how the market rate versus hard to reach projects really differs there. And it is really, I think, beneficial to target those hard to reach projects. And then lastly, as I've mentioned a few times, payments are made quarterly based on actual project savings measured at the meter over a 12-month period. This graph up here illustrates what that payment cycle looks like. I won't dive into that today, but we'll share this deck after and you can review that at your leisure. Now, let's talk a little bit more about customer and project eligibility. Initially, the program will only accept electric savings from projects with plans to allow gas project savings in the coming months. So we expect this electric savings only to be just for the remainder of 2024, and then starting 2025, we'll reward gas project savings as well. Okay, to participate at a high level, projects must meet the following criteria. This is not all the eligibility criteria. These are what I think are the 4 biggest ones that you need to be aware of as an aggregator. One, the most important, the project needs to be in the 3CRN service area. So any of those 3 counties, Ventura, Santa Barbara, or SLO, that's the first step. Anything outside of there is not eligible for the program. Number 2, the project must receive electric distribution and/or natural gas services from any combination of Pacific Gas and Electric, Southern California Edison, or Southern California Gas. Participants can also receive electricity from a community choice aggregator within the service area. Municipal utility customers are not eligible. 3, the site must have annual energy usage less than 150,000 kilowatt hours and less than 50,000 therms across all meters serving the site. Don't worry, we have tools that can help tell you how much that energy, how much that site is using in our project eligibility tool. I'll show in a little bit. So no need to go and add up all the utility bills for a given site. We have that for you, and you're able to use the eligibility tools to help meet those needs. 4th, the site must be associated with an eligible NAICS code. So this is the type of business that it would be. I'm not going to go through the full list, but of note, there are a few key business types that are not allowed. Agricultural sites, parking garages, and storage facilities are some of those key businesses that are not allowed. We'll skip over some of the other eligibility requirements today that are more minor, but we will share the program manual. So if you want to look at everything that's eligible, you can. Now, that's just general eligibility. What qualifies a project as hard to reach? If you're familiar with our residential program or any other pay for performance markets, you'll see some overlap here. It is determined based on county. So SLO and Santa Barbara have the same eligibility requirements. It must be any of the following if any followings are true, it's a hard to reach project and you get that 2x multiplier. So if the primary language spoken is other than English, if the business size is 25 or fewer employees, and business size at that site. So we're not talking about if there's multiple sites, we're talking about that specific business. And or is classified as very small, is a leased or rented facility, is a municipal building, or the owner is a member of a California Native American tribe. So those are at a high level. Hard to reach criteria for SLO and Santa Barbara. Don't worry, we have all of this in a program manual for you to refer back to. Ventura has a little more rigor to it. So it's those same criteria, except one, you must be located in a disadvantaged community, and then one of the following: language, business size, leased or rented, or not located in a disadvantaged community and meet all three criteria, or if it's a municipal building or the owner is a member of a California Native American tribe, automatically qualifies. So Ventura definitely has a little bit more rigor there. But again, we'll have all this information for you to refer back to as you're targeting specific sites. Now, shifting gears a little bit, we're going to touch base on the software side of things and what you can expect to have access to as an aggregator in the program and the tools that you'll need to be really successful. So the primary tool you will be using is the Project Hub, which we will go through in more detail shortly. This is where you will submit projects for reservation and final approval. Next is going to be Fleet Manager. This is where you will view the performance at the meter of the projects you've submitted for final approval and are in tracking. And last but not least is Ledger. This is where you will keep track of your portfolio's financial balance in the program. For today, however, we are going to focus primarily on Project Hub and just show high level how you'll be submitting your project to the program. With that, I'm going to shift over to Project Hub and give you guys a quick overview of what that looks like. And I realize we have 10 minutes left, so this will be a bit abbreviated, but I will, of course, share a link to my calendar. And if you want a more detailed training on Project Hub and how to submit projects, I'm happy to do so. Great. We are going to look at the Recurve app. So you are now in the Recurve application. This is where you will submit projects to the program. And I'm just in an example project field right now. The Recurve Project Hub is a self-service platform, and it makes project enrollment simple, and as well as tracking and payment for you as the aggregator. So we'll start, and I've pre-filled this stuff since we are short on time. I've just pre-filled some of this information, but it's pretty much 6 key steps. So first, you submit project name, the estimated start date, so when the project construction for the project starts, and when construction for that project ends. Next is you'll select the program, which is 3CRN commercial. If you're enrolled in other programs that are implemented by Recurve, you might see some other options, so just be conscious of that. If you're only enrolled in this program, you'll only see 3CRN commercial. You'll fill out information on here about the site, the primary language, leased or rented. A lot of those hard to reach criteria, this is where it's going to be filled out. So make sure that that information is accurate if you do have a hard to reach customer targeted. Next, and really key, is the project measures. So I just filled in an example measure here, but we have a full list of measures that are eligible in the program. You want, and another key thing is you have to estimate the electric savings and the gas savings. The better you estimate these savings, the better your project is going to perform, and the more likely you are to get a higher incentive. You're going to add the measure cost, estimate electric savings, estimate gas savings, and it can be a multi-measure project. So if you have other measures, you can just click that plus button and add other measures in. I'm just going to keep it single for now. Step 4, we need to enter some information about the customer. So you can add customer's name, primary contact name, contact phone, email, and then the customer site. So where is the customer based? So second. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Sometimes when I pre-fill, it doesn't work as well. Okay. We have customer selected. Okay, so we've now selected our customer. It's pre-filled for this information because I created this customer beforehand. We're looking at a customer site in Slow, electric utility, gas utility. And then last but not least, you have to enter the meters. So the meter numbers for the site. So this will be a key piece of information you need to collect from the business owner, which is their electric agreement with either Pacific Gas and Electric or Southern California Edison or a CCA, as well as the gas meter. I just put a dummy electric meter in there for now. And you can see that this is obviously ineligible because it's not real, but these are all the checks that eligibility checks that are run. So things like if the if the site has less than 150,000 kilowatt hours, less than 50,000 therms, that's where it'll check that. So you don't need to calculate that information yourself. It'll check that, and you'll get an eligibility status button here. I don't need an eligible meter to run the project value estimator. You do need an eligible meter to submit the project for enrollment. Now, project value estimator, this is how you find out how much money you're going to get from this project that you have submitted to the program. I created a estimate beforehand, but if you wanted to, all you have to do is click create estimate, and based on all the information you submitted here, it'll create you a value based on the estimated savings that are for that project. And so we can see based on the project that I created with 8,000 kilowatt hours of savings, I can expect to receive an aggregator incentive of $4,308. And I'll receive 20% of that upfront, so $861. You can also see that down here, like some more inputs. So you can see there's no multiplier here because I didn't submit any information that would deem this to be a hard to reach project. But at a high level, this is a key piece of Project Hub that you'll want to use as the aggregator because it's going to spit out that incentive that you're going to be looking to get there. Some other tabs, you have the timeline here. This is just shows any changes you've made. You can also add comments for yourself or the program to view there. Now, another key section I want to call out here is there are some documentation you're going to need to submit for the program. Data authorization form from the customer is a very key one. You can print that out here. You can also view instructions for it right here and what you need to do. Savings calculation, so how you came to calculate the savings for that site. You got instructions there. Invoice for the work. This is submitted actually at the second stage when you're submitting for final enrollment. Again, photos of installed measure, project completion form, these are all being submitted at that second stage when you're submitting after you've installed the project. And then once you've gone through all those steps, you can view all the information you submitted here. We have some acknowledgments about the information regarding the project and that it's abiding by market rules and accurate applicable permitting rules. And you can view everything make sure everything there is required. So obviously I didn't fill out some stuff here, such as project documents or an eligible meter, so I can't submit it yet. But once all those pass, you're able to submit the project for enrollment. The recurve and 3CRN team then reviews that project, make sure everything is in line with the program rules. And if it is here, it will likely be just moved on to tracking or reservation. You can then submit the project or install the project. And then once it's installed, you just have a few more pieces of information to complete, and then it enters in tracking. You start getting paid. Now we have 4 minutes left. So I know that was a very abbreviated version of Project Hub, but want to just talk through what happens next. So if you are interested in participating in the 3CRN program, commercial program, the next steps you'll need to take, I will just pop up my screen. Moment. These are the next steps you'll need to take. So, like I said, you'll complete the flexibility purchase agreement in terms and conditions. I have that linked on the slide deck. I will send a follow-up email after this with all these instructions, so you don't have to refer back to here. Number 2, you'll receive a login once you complete this flexibility purchase agreement. You'll receive a login to the Recurve app that I just showed, and then you can start submitting projects. I imagine unless you're an expert at this, that you'd probably want some more training and some more, you might have some more questions. This is obviously a webinar, so you're not able to have that more individualized training. That's why you can schedule one-to-one time with myself if you would like to have additional training on the Recurve app, or if you have any questions about the program. I also would encourage you to review the program manual as well as visit the 3CRN Commercial Energy Savings landing page. After you sign the flexibility purchase agreement in terms and conditions. Um, Now, that is everything we're going to share today, but I want to see if there's any questions in the chat. Um, Nancy asks, can the money run out before 2027? Now, um, each year there is a set budget for the program. So for program year 2024, which kicked off in October, it's a pretty abbreviated year, we have the budget of $1.4 million for those 3 months. Any unused funds will roll over into the 2025's budget. 2025's budget is not yet finalized, so we don't have those figures to share with you today. But say that we reach November next year and all the budget has been reserved, then the program would not be accepting new projects for, say, 1 to 2 months. Now, if we're able to, we can also potentially look at adding additional funds, but now each program year has that set budget. So it is on a first come, first serve basis. So it can run out for the program year, but it's not all going to get it. Say like it's not all one budget, it's program year budget. So each year that budget will reset through 2027. And then to answer Maria's question, you will get the recording as well as the slides and an email from me just describing everything you're seeing on this page here. Whew. Just did that in a little bit of an abbreviated version, so we just talked about a lot. So I will send out this email later this morning, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly, schedule time with myself to chat through the program more. So yeah, I really appreciate everyone joining today. And sorry for the late start, but we look forward to having you join the 3CRN Commercial Energy Savings Program and taking advantage of the incentive offerings we have. So with that, have a wonderful morning and thank you for your time today.